Hello everyone, welcome back to Real Reds Talk, an authentic football fan channel made in Manchester. This is your Tuesday night show, and Shreyas is joining us from Athens? Not Athens, no, don't tell me, it's not Athens. It's Istanbul in Turkey, yeah? Correct.
Yeah,
From Istanbul
yeah,
in Turkey.
yeah.
He's doing his due diligence, he's scouting, he's going across Greek, the islands, he's going across Turkey. He's going what is it, the Atlantic Ocean, Mediterranean? I don't even know. Mediterranean. So he is scouting the Mediterranean Ocean for midfielders as we speak. And we are going to discuss midfielders, Shreyas, because Ugarte deal set to be done soon, apparently. It's this just out of nowhere, like the RKO speeding up. Apparently, PSG are willing to drop the demand, so we're going to talk about that story. That's going to be the main piece of the show. A separate individual bid going in for Youssouf Fofana, which is also crazy as fuck. Branthwaite back on the cards. The United still want Branthwaite. I don't know where that's coming from. We've got outgoings to discuss, some bits of news on Garnacho, which I'm happy about. And then I think De Ligt and Mazraoui's numbers have been revealed, so we'll kind of finish off with that. Let us know how you're feeling in the chat. Let us know. We put a poll up at the start, and I'll go back to it shortly, but it's very, very split at the minute. Quite literally 25 almost in terms of how much we should pay for Ugarte. So I'll read out the article for you, Shreyas, and then we'll get your reaction as always, mate. So, in the last few hours, major progress has been made on the Manuel Ugarte to Manchester United deal. According to sources close to the player, the transfer could be closed in the next few hours. Agents Jorge Mendes and Jorge whatever that is, are travelling to Manchester today to finalise the deal. That's quite strong words. That's coming from a South American journalist. And then Fabrizio Romano's also kind of second that and saying Jorge Mendes is in England for talks with Manchester United over his client Manuel Ugarte. United need PSG to lower their asking price or they will move for cheaper options. And then the Mail Sport, just to give you the most up-to-date thing on Ugarte, Man United's chiefs met on Monday to discuss the strategy for the remainder of the transfer window. A midfielder is a priority target, blah, blah, blah. They believe PSG is going to bring down the asking price to 52 million quid. So, obviously, a very important signing, Shreyas. What should we pay for him, do you believe?
I think if we can get him around that 50 million mark, I think it will be a very good deal for us. Because once again, in that City game, and during the course of pre-season, we could see that how much United are actually in a need for a six and or even a hybrid midfielder who can impose his physicality alongside Menu in that midfield. If we want to continue playing in that system, Casemiro isn't your go-to guy to be playing week in and week out in that system because there are going to be a lot of flaws. There is going to be a lot more work, you know, aggression, and I would say wild tackles actually being made if you choose to play with Casemiro throughout the course of this season as your lone six. But with Ugarte, you've got an option, a very decent option on top of that, who has the defensive awareness, who has the legs and mobility to be functioning in that sort of a role that Ten Hag actually wants from a six in this system. So I think around that 50 million mark, even if in add-ons it goes up to like 52, 53, I think it is still a fair deal because once again, Ugarte is still a very, very young player. He's 22 or 23 or 24 years old right now. So even if the deal doesn't really work out as much as we expect it to, we can actually sell him on a decent price because he'll even if it doesn't work out, he'll only be 25 or 26 years old. So it wouldn't be as much of a problem to actually offload him and then go in for another alternative who can actually do a job for us. So I think 50 million is a fair price.
I think it's so obvious that they want him as the main target. Like, there's been others discussed, like Sanderton and all these other ones that have been mentioned. And maybe they might end up doing them as, like, separate deals. Who knows? But Ugarte, for me, fits the profile. I know some people say Sanderberg fits it better or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But he's just got a higher range and ceiling for me, Ugarte, getting him in. And the fact that PSG were asking for what they paid for him, it's like, it just makes no sense whatsoever, does it? Because you're just going to sign loads of players in that midfield. You clearly don't need him. You clearly need to sell. So you're not going to get what you're asking for. It's as simple as that. And the longer the window goes on, the more pressure they are under to sell. So maybe they have just turned around and gone, you know what? We'll have to take a 5 mil hit on this. Something like 5 to 10 mil. Or maybe we'll ask for add-ons, achievable addons. If they get back into the Champions League, maybe they'll achieve that. But a lot's being made at the moment with the current midfielder that we've got, Shreyas, in Casemiro. And I'm hearing talks of, like, renaissance, and he's going to come back. He looked fitter, sharper. I'm not too sure about that. What have you made of him so far?
I hope he can have that. I genuinely hope
for sure.
so because I really hope that he can get back to that level. But The only thing is this system doesn't really favor him because this system requires a player who has a lot more agility. This sort of a system requires someone who is, I would say, has the perfect blend of aggression as well as having, the composure when the player actually has the ball. Out of possession, I think while pressing, Casemiro has looked a lot better than what he did last year. But when it comes to making those challenges, when it comes to actually, comes to winning the ball back, he's still just as wild. He's still making those aggressive tackles that are not really required. And you can't have that in this sort of a system moving into next season. We've seen the mistakes, and we've seen how much it actually cost us last year itself. We concede very, very stupid fouls in very, very dangerous positions, and then off set pieces, we end up conceding a lot of goals. I think if we stick with Casemiro, it will happen again. Maybe, it works out a bit better when you're moving the ball forward because moving the ball forward, Casemiro can pick out that sort of passes. Casemiro has that sort of passing range in him.
Mm.
When it comes to off the ball movement, when it comes to winning the ball back and pressing in triangles and maintaining that coordination with players like Mino and Bruno around who obviously got a lot more legs, and the amount of distance that Bruno actually covers on the pitch is something that no one in this team actually can actually match. But Casemiro hasn't got the legs for it. So
Yeah.
I just don't think that, considering we've seen how Ten Hag wants to play. He wants to play high line. He wants to play high pressing. He wants to play a system where, the attackers can just move into, the final spaces in the split of a second. And then it will happen that we lose out on the ball on a couple of occasions. You've got the players like Bruno, you've got players like Rashford. So it will happen that United lose out on the ball in the final third, and then we get hit on the counter. In those areas, Casemiro is still making those sort of challenges that actually cost us. So
Yeah.
that's the only problem I actually have with this game. As a player, as a profile, as a leader in this team, arguably he's one of the best to have. He's got one of the perfect CVs to actually, go for in Europe with the amount of Champions League that he's won, with the amount of professionalism that he can bring to this team, and with youngsters like Collier and Menu. But as a starter, and as someone who you want to bank on week in and week out, he's just not that guy anymore.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. And so nice, by the way, to see so many in the chat again. Good evening. Welcome, everyone. Get your opinions, your comments. You know the crack by now. And yeah, love to see the community having a chat amongst themselves as well. As always, random guy straight in with a super chat saying, looking sharp, guys. I'm not sure about myself. I just said basically off camera to Shreyas that he was looking rather dashing with his shirt. And I think it's the weather, innit? The weather just brings it out of you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just 34 or 33 degrees. So for me, it is quite pleasant.
It's winter
Considering
thing,
I've come from 45 or 46. Yeah, you can say it is pretty much winter for me. But yeah, it's a lot better. It's a lot decent out here in Greece and Istanbul.
Yeah. He's going to move there permanently. I just think fuck life off in India. We'll just...
No, if I move permanently, I'm coming. If I move permanently, I'm coming to Manchester.
Yes, you heard it first. Shreyas exclusive. Moving to Manchester if he does move. Let's see. We'll take him in the Stretford then and go absolutely feral. Looking forward to that one. Right, let's go to the comments then and see what the real Red Ultras are saying. Legends in the chat. My Damn United saying, hi Nick, Shreyas, everyone. Hope everyone is good. McMillan saying, getting Ugarte. I see it getting in the way of getting Wharton next summer. Imagine Wharton and Collier as the CDM for the next 5 years or more. Wharton ceiling's higher. Yeah, I like Adam Wharton. Two things on that. I think there's going to be a massive queue for Adam Wharton. I think there's a lot of clubs wanting to sign him. So that's first and foremost. And the second thing is, maybe potentially we could do a loan deal. And I don't know, I'm just suggesting this as well, Sancho a loan deal as well. Whether they're with obligations to buy or not, I'm not entirely sure. But I think that would maybe work for both teams. Am I crazy for saying that?
No, not at all. Not at all. We're seeing these sort of deals happen throughout Europe now. Especially in the Premier League as well, we're seeing these sort of deals. And so, and plus with the way these clubs work, with the way these transfers are happening right now, with the kind of players that are moving, you can expect anything to happen. Yeah, absolutely anything.
Dan Fenton, I said Casemiro played well on Saturday. Thought he was like the old Casemiro when we first bought him. Let's not just write him off yet. Let's give him another chance. Like I said, I'm happy for him to prove me wrong, and I hope he does have a good season. I just don't.
Yeah.
I don't personally see it. I think he's still doing things. He's very rash in the tackle at times. He's very wild. His positioning, sometimes he gambles and he gets caught on defensive transitions. I see too much of that from him.
The only problem that I have with Casemiro's game is off the ball. On the ball, I really don't have as many issues.
His progression on the ball is fantastic.
Yeah,
first time passes are just like elite, like cutting through. He's
exactly,
great. He's
exactly.
great. Yeah, I don't have an issue with that. And then also, if you bring in Ugarte, Casemiro could have a rest. You can still bring him in for games. You can still bring him in for cup games or maybe a couple of European games. That's fine. But against the big dogs, where you've got to put a lot of mileage in, and you're going to be a little bit risky in your approach, Ugarte in there is going to be covering the grass.
Yeah, and worse comes to worse in games where you want to go a bit defensive, or you're 2-0 or 2-1 up, you want to close the game down. You can play Casemiro alongside Ugarte and probably have Meno in there as well. Just close the midfield down
Hmm.
altogether, and it opens up a lot of options if you get
Yeah.
Ugarte in.
Yeah. Why has Nick stolen Shreyas from his honeymoon date on the cruise? Shreyas in his honeymoon attire, apparently, looking like he's about to get married. I'm pretty sure confirm he's not getting married. So yeah, but let's just
Yeah.
take it as a compliment and we'll move forward. Now, Shreyas, This bid from reports from Sky Sports confused me quite a lot. So Manchester United are now ready to submit an important bid for Youssouf Fofana. This is Sky reporting this. And from what I've read and people in the know, independent bids to Ugarte, if United raise enough funds, they will make this signing as well. So if they did do that, if they brought them to win, that is a very good fucking window, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Excuse me.
If considering how bleak things looked last week before that Community Shield game,
I know.
people were like panicking.
Me, I was panicking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like what? Moving into next season, it's going to be Evans, Lindelof, Maguire in the back line once again because everyone's injured. We're going to be having Casemiro playing once again week in, week out for us. We still not got this guy in. Euro is going to be out till December or November. And it was panic season, absolutely. And now you've got the likes of Mazraoui and De Ligt in, who, by the way, looks like, both of them are going to be starting against Fulham with the way reports are coming out. And now, you're hearing quite positive things about Ugarte. You're suddenly hearing things about Fofana as well. And I think if you get Ugarte in as well as Fofana in, for me, that is one of the best windows you can possibly have. Uh,
Sorry, I've just seen some news. Have you seen it?
no, not at all. I can't see anything right
I'm
now.
sorry, I know he's making a great point there, but Romano just tweeted it. Luke Shaw is going to miss the opening games of the Premier League season because he's got a calf injury. Oh, you can't write this shit.
Are we surprised? Are we even surprised? Are we even surprised?
McMillan just put it in the chat then, and I was like, I'll double check it because sometimes I'm not saying McMillan does this, but sometimes people put it in, and I'm like, I have to double check that. And yeah, exclusive.
And-
Luke Shaw will miss the opening
and
games of Premier League season due to a calf injury sustained at the start of pre-season. He is working on his rehabilitation with a view to being available after the first international break. Fuck me. And you can see why they're pushing the Majari one now as well, wouldn't you, so much?
First international break means that he'll miss the first 3 to 4 games of the season itself. So, and guess what Luke Shaw's last competitive game was?
It was the Euros, wasn't it? For the final.
Yeah. Started in the final.
I mean, it really does get to a point, and I'm sure there's a lot of people who are also in the chat thinking this, where you're like, how can you rely on a guy who's this much he's injured more almost than he is available? And I love Luke Shaw. I think he's extremely talented. He brings a lot to the team, but as any football manager will tell you, availability is the best ability, and he's never ever fit. And when we've got that going on with Malacia at the moment as well, who's been out for almost 18 months himself, I'm sat here saying you don't want to. Look, Majari might be able to fill in there, and I think he's done well for Bayern there. I think he's done bits, but just not having a natural left-footed left back who's got experience and is good in that role, it's just disappointing, isn't it, man? So disappointing.
I think it definitely is, and considering the expectations that even fans have from Luke Shaw, considering how his first season under Ten Hag actually went, people saw him as that sort of figure who could slot into as a centre back, someone who can step into midfield and do bits, someone who can play quite well as a left back as well. But I think after a point, even a player actually has that sort of realization as to how much of a toll the player's body can actually take. And considering Luke Shaw's injury record, I think even he must have a fair evaluation as to how many games he can play, how much rest his body actually requires for him to actually function to the best of his ability. But I still remember there was a massive chunk of the fan base who really didn't understand why Luke Shaw even went to the Euros, because he didn't play any of the games barring the final. He wasn't even able to train with the England squad during the course of the Euros, and Now now he's injured. So it's going to take a big. It's going to cause a big problem for us because the first three to it happens every single season that the first 3 to 4 games of the season we slip up, we lose out on points, and then we're just playing catch up for the
Mm.
next 6 to 7 games. So it does create a massive issue for us. And like you mentioned, I think this could be a massive reason why the Mazraoui deal actually got sped
Oh
up,
yeah,
and
I
it
have
got
no doubt
completed
about
before
that.
the Fulham game.
Yeah,
Because I
no
think
doubt
even
about
Ten
that.
Hag must know, yeah, even Ten Hag must know that I cannot go into another season having a centre
Yeah.
back play at left back or any CDM playing at left back. So Mazraoui is coming. I think Dallo would be starting off as a left back in that game because he can actually play that
Yeah,
position
yeah.
quite well. He's quite well rounded with both his feet, and he has done quite a decent job as a left back. So I think he slots in at left back, and Mazraoui comes in at right back in that game.
I reckon Mazraoui probably gets injured in the next couple of... I genuinely would not be surprised at all if that happened, if Mazraoui got injured. But right now, we've not even kicked a ball, Shreyas, in the Premier League. And Yoro, Hoyland, Shaw, Lindelof, Malacio, and Fish, obviously the
Maguire,
academy player. Maguire,
Maguire
yeah,
might not be fit.
here or there, are out already.
Yeah.
I mean, we've not even kicked a ball in the Premier League. It's nuts. So when Ten Hag said in his press conference, survival of the fittest, he's not fucking wrong because it's already happening,
Yeah.
and we've just started to see. I can't believe he's injured again. Like that is just. When I get it from a player perspective, this is what I said to Sam, right? If you're asked to go to the Euros, you're just coming back from an injury, and you're looking at England's prospects, and you're thinking they're probably gonna win it, or they get at least close to it. I want to be a part of that. So even if I'm only available for a couple of games, I'm gonna go because I think I can make a difference. That I understand it. But you look at your past history, your injuries, how they've gone, how your recovery's gone, even during the season. Is it the best professional decision to stand there and go, I'm going to go? Because clearly he's come back, he's got a calf injury already. He's not even played a game. He's training and he's getting injured. How's he going to last? He's going to have the same rodeo with Luke Shaw again this season.
Yeah. And once again, I think everyone knows we are going to be playing at least 50 games this season again. We are going to be playing at least 50 games. You've got 38 games in the Premier League itself. You've got the FA Cup, you've got the Carabao Cup, and the Europa League, the
Yeah.
extended format in it as well. So you are going to be playing 50 games this season. Will Luke Shaw even be able to feature in 30 of those games?
No.
That's a very big question. And
No,
if he
makes
cannot play
sense.
30 games for us, if he cannot, then we must actually be looking at alternatives because I think we've paid a very big price last year itself on relying on players who, when fit, can actually be world class. We
Yeah.
need players who can actually play 40 to 45 games a season for us rather than just being able to play 15 to 20 games. It creates a massive issue in this team. And Luke Shaw falls into that category. Rafa Varane fell into that category. Like when he was fit, no one even had even one question mark over his ability when he used to
Yeah,
play. He was
yeah,
absolutely bang on solid. But
absolutely.
the biggest issue was he was never fit enough to
Yeah.
feature 45 to 50 games for us. That's the only reason why he actually left. That's the only reason, and I think Luke Shaw falls into that category too.
And stability and consistency is everything in football. Absolutely everything. Look at Arsenal, why their defence was so good last season. It's because it was always Saliba, Gabriel, Ben White, and pretty much Zinchenko or Kiwi or the left back was a little bit weird, but you need consistency in the back line. And the only time we've had consistency, the first season, I don't think Varane under 10 I didn't get injured as much as he did for the next couple. Like, he still picked up the odd one, but him and Leach started quite a few games together, and you saw instantly.
Shaw started quite a few games as well.
Shaw as well. Clean sheets. Like, that's the big effect that it has, even if it's one player. So he's going to miss the game against Fulham, the game against Brighton, the game against Liverpool, I think, and then he should be available for Southampton away, barring he doesn't have any setbacks, but also that wouldn't surprise you either. Let's see what the people in the chat are thinking, because I'm sure they're equally as frustrated as us. Alex is saying Shaw gets injured. What a surprise. 1 second. So many comments. BB is saying we should try and sign Chilwell on loan. I don't like Chilwell personally, BB. I don't know what you think, Shreyas.
Even he is injury prone.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. That's what I should have said. He's injured for Chelsea right now.
He's injury prone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy. And Reece James. They've got a similar issue to us in that regard.
Yeah.
Luke's injuries have injuries at this point. Ricky Windass says, Luke Shaw's an embarrassment to United. How can you get fit for England and not get fit for the team that he pays his wages? Dan Fenton, here we go again with Shaw. Was okay to go to the Euros. Absolute joke. Get rid of him. Sorry, but not a good job. We have Mazraoui and Amas. Yeah, people really not happy about this, which is understandable. Jamie McGregor saying, "My damned, hope you sound too." Just having a chat. Luke Shaw to be sold to FC Bruges next season. Nice joke. I like it. Yeah, that's a great point, Jay. Johnny Evans was available more than Shaw. That's what he's just put.
Yeah, he actually was. Yeah.
Yeah, and he expected to play 5 games, he said. Because he said that in the mix zone during
Ended up playing
pre-season.
30.
Ended up playing
30.
Ended up being almost sign of the season at this point, the way things were going. Steph saying Shaw, always injured, time to get rid, not reliable. It's a conversation that we need to have about Luke Shaw. It's getting, and obviously, look, injuries are never their fault. It's not as if that they're going out of purpose to get it. I'm sure they're just as frustrated, but this is high level football. It's cutthroat at the very top, and if you want to win, you need to make those kind of decisions. So
yeah.
We'll move on from Luke Shaw. If anything, we have any further updates, we'll kind of round off and go back to that. We're going to stick with English talent. I want to go to Branthwaite, Shreyas, because we've had an update from the Mail Sport, and updates from them on Branthwaite usually pretty good, especially Simon Jones, who works for them, and he's the one who initially broke the story about Branthwaite, I believe. So, Everton centre-back Jarrad Branthwaite remains a key target despite 2 centre-backs already joining Manchester United. That is the move that is set to run, with Everton holding out for £70 million, while United have no plans to go above £60 million. Sources have indicated that this one could go right to the wire. There's surely no way we sign Branthwaite, is there? Surely no way.
No. If we pull it off at deadline day or something, if we somehow manage to pull it off, I'll just say that Ineos are doing one heck of a job, like genuinely one heck of a job. If the way things are looking, if they're able to get in Ugarte, if they're still able to get in the likes of Fofana, and then they're able to even get the likes of Branthwaite in, that's a spectacular window. Like genuinely a spectacular window, considering considering you've already got Euro in, De Ligt in, Zoxy in, and Mazaraoui in as well. That's actually a very, very big window. And look, Branthwaite as a player, I think he's very well, a very well-rounded player. I still think it might be a bit too soon for a move for him, because I think I still need to see one more season from him actually at Everton or whichever club it is in the Premier League where he wants to play. But I think the leap from Everton to United, it ends up being a bit too big. And I think he still needs a bit more experience in the Premier League. Can he fit into the profile at United? I think he can. I think he's good with both of his feet, so it wouldn't cause as much of a problem if you want to play on the right or even the left hand side. He can play with. He's very good on the ball. He's very calm, and in the ball as well, he's very good when it comes to dominating his opponents aerially. So he brings that aspect into the picture as well. So he could very well fit into it, but I think it is still a bit too soon of a move for him.
Yeah, I've always been of the opinion that I would put, if let's say De Ligt and Branthwaite were both going for £40 million, I would always lean towards Branthwaite, because I do think he's a top talent. I think physical specimen, he's rapid, he's really good on the ball, Premier proven, which people don't like to say, but he is Premier proven. Left-sided centre-back, which we need. Maybe they're looking at it like that. I mean, that is a real pool of talent. That if you had Yoro, De Ligt, Lissandro, and Branthwaite to choose from, that is like a big luxury to have as a selection.
And I think Branthwaite has actually played as a left back too for PSV or something.
A couple of times.
Played as a left back.
Yeah. He's played there a couple of times. So, and you're probably thinking that as well with, like, for example, Lissandro can play at left back, could probably drop into midfield at times if needed. It seems like they're trying to get a chunky squad for Ten Hag so we can manage minutes and stuff. But again, at the same time, Shreyas, he needs to rotate, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think he definitely needs to rotate, because now that he has alternatives, like before this season and the season before it as well, I have seen that the squad is too thin quality wise, that he doesn't have enough quality to actually bring off from the bench, so he tends to pick certain players again and again and again. But this season I think he has got alternatives. Even when Bruno is not there, you can pick Mount. Even if you've not got the likes of Euro fit or Lissandro fit, you might have Branthwaite, you will definitely have Matthias de Ligt. You've got players coming through from the academy. You've got Mazaraoui and Dalot. Dalot is always fit, but still, even he deserves a rest as well. So you've got alternatives to work with now. Even in the striker department, I would say, if Højlund is knackered or if Højlund is not 100% fit, rest him, go with Xerxes. You need to be able to balance minutes out for these youngsters, because there needs to be a good recovery time for them. And especially, we've seen last year as well, Hoyland picked up 2 to 3 injuries during the course of the season, which cost us. So I think he definitely needs to balance out his minutes. And I think it will also help in getting the best out of this team because it won't be a situation where Hoyland has been playing for 10 games regularly and Zoxy is not match fit. He's very rusty. So it keeps match sharpness up. It also keeps the squad morale up as well.
Yeah, I'm looking at players, I believe, for like left-sided. Like we've seen links with Hermoso, Marcus
Yeah.
Alonso's been in there as well. It's starting to make a little bit more sense now, isn't it? If they're genuinely concerned about Luke Shaw's long-term and longevity, it makes sense. But I don't think any of them players who've
Right
been linked
now,
with.
United don't have, like in the senior team right now, United don't have a fit left back.
No, and that's the issue. I think Mazzara's... And looking at the Fulham game, I thought he would be available and back and ready for it,
Yeah.
Luke Shaw. Now looking at him like Mazzara might have to get chucked fucking right into the fire, it seems.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's not fair on the player, but there's no other option but to go for it unless Ten Hag decides to go with Amas on the left-hand side.
Yeah, which I don't think he trusts him enough at the moment,
Yeah.
Amas, and I think that was clear from the Community Shield because he could have started in there or gone with him, but he obviously threw the Sandro in there, so he might not think Amas is ready yet, and I think he's probably correct in that assessment because I liked bits that he did in pre-season, but defensively as well. I don't know if you noticed it. There was a couple of bits where I'm like, his positioning is a little bit off.
He still needs a bit more maturity. He still needs more, I would say, experience in that position, but the future is definitely bright for him.
Yeah, I'd agree. Right, let's move on to Alejandro Garnacho then, because we've had a couple of updates on him. Some positive news, I would say. Now, of course, he looked pretty fresh, didn't he, against City in the Community Shield, scored a wonderful goal. Looks like he's set to have a decent season with us. He cut his thingy short, so his holiday or whatever it was short, to come back and train quickly. We've seen that. And apparently he's in line to start against Fulham on Friday, which got me thinking... Does that mean Ahmad dropped to the bench, do you think?
No. Rashford dropped to the bench.
You think Ten Hag will drop Rashford?
Yeah.
I can't see it.
Or maybe Rashford plays through the middle then, but he's not going to be able to drop Ahmad or Garnacho right now. I think Ahmad was absolutely amazing in that City game. Like, genuinely, whenever he was in the ball, the way he actually was able to wiggle through their entire defensive line was very, very unlucky not to grab an assist on that Mount. Mount just had to be in the right spot, but if Xerxes or Hoyland would have been there, that would have ended up being a goal because a striker in that position knows what to do. So I think Ahmad is undroppable. Like, Ahmad genuinely needs to play. He's probably one of our best attackers right now. Garnacho as well took his goal really, really well. Was very patient, was able to make the right decision in the right time, and I think I just rank him above Rashford. I think Rashford looked better. I think Rashford did look a lot better than what he did last year, but his decision making, his finishing is still not there yet. He's still not at that level yet where I would go and say Rashford is back. He looks better. He looks a lot more agile and fit, but he he's still a bit away. He's still a bit away from that level where I would go and say, Rashford is on the ball and in the box, it's going to be a goal. It's still going to take some time, but I think there is still a bit of progression. And with the way Ten Hag has actually spoken about him during preseason, that he's a lot more confident, and Marcus is going to be absolutely amazing this season and stuff like that. I think he will be involved. Maybe Xerxes might not get the start as soon as we hope. I think Garnacho will play. I think Ahmad will play as well. Rashford might be starting through the middle.
A lot of question marks on the season, of course. Let us know your thoughts. Obviously, we're not going to give our predicted 11s because we're going to do the Fulham preview probably tomorrow, to be fair, because we've got an interview dropping, which we did this morning. We've got live shows that we need to keep on top of, members videos that we're doing as well. So there's loads of stuff going on. So we'll probably do it tomorrow. So I'm going to save predictions and stuff for that. But if you guys would like to get yours in the chat, then please do. I'll just let us know your front three, who you would go with for the starting game against Fulham, and then onwards from that. I'm going to go to the comments. McMillan says, I always thought that Branthwaite would be end of the window signing. My Damned United's first and last bids. By the way, please do smash a like on the video for us just before I forget, because I always do. There's loads of these in the chat, so it'd be nice for you if you can get up to, I don't know, 30, 40 likes, and subscribe to the channel as well if you're new. Welcome to the community. First and last bids of the window. Sorry, I already read that. T2 to Izzo says 2 things going for Branthwaite right now. We could play left back, and he's played in Holland. Yeah, that you have to have that in your resume, don't you? To sign for United.
He's worked under Ruud van Nistelrooy before, so you never know.
Yeah, there you go. But I do think they've been following Branthwaite for a while, prior to Ruud coaching at PSV. Even if we did bring in Branthwaite, I think there's too much happened at once in defence. I can see that. Is it going to be enough game time for all of them if there's that pool? I don't know.
If we go deep into the Europa League, yes. If we go deep into the Europa League, then definitely.
I think the same question mark with like an Ivan Toney though. If you bring him in, is Højlund going to get enough minutes? Is Xerxes going to get enough minutes? That's
with strike. I think with the striker department, it might be a bit more complicated. But I think with centre backs, it won't be as complicated because you never even know Lisandro might pick up an injury. You never really know with him as well. So you need depth in that centre back department. With strikers, I'm still a bit more hopeful because we've also got forwards who can slot into that position. Bruno can slot into that position. Sancho can slot into that position as a false 9 too. So I think you've still got areas in the striker department where gaps can be filled. But centre backs, we definitely need the strength for it.
Yeah, agreed. Welcome to everyone just joining. If you are just tuning into the stream, just to give you a refreshing update, Luke Shaw is injured and out again until the international break. So he's going to miss the game against Fulham, against Liverpool, against Brighton, and maybe a couple of others as well, depending on his rehabilitation. So injured again. That's the big headline coming out. And also been discussing the Ugarte bid that's been moving forward and Youssouf Fofana. Nick Knack, welcome. Great name. Room for a Saints fan. Room for anyone. Anyone who's got a footballing opinion, you're welcome in the chat, mate, as far as I'm concerned.
Yep.
Can I just say, I did say a week ago, I'm not sure Amas can do it all season when Shaw gets injured. Fair play. There's that many comments. I can't remember everyone, but fair play. Dallo left back doesn't work well with Rashford. I think Mazraoui would complement him better, or if Amas played. That's one thing you did see in pre-season, innit? Amas, with Rashford having that natural width there, he could kind of drop in and his game elevated, didn't it? So, I don't know, maybe Mazraoui would be a better fit there. I'm not sure. You just have to see it works out, innit? Because we've never seen him play for United before. So, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Branthwaite and Yoro growing together for the next 10 years would be mint. Agreed. Craig the Unicorn in the chat. What do you think about that name?
It's a unique name.
Yeah, unique. That's the one. I like Branthwaite as a player, but I hate dealing with Everton. I think that's my biggest issue. You're not the only one. Steph saying Rashford must grab a goal soon as to justify his place. So many comments and so many people in the chat. Thank you very much, everyone. So nice to see so many of you interested in the content and getting involved with the chat. I'm going to move it on to outgoings. So, and the reason why I'm moving on to outgoings is because your boy has been linked with a move to Bologna and Calgary, I think, are interested as well, for Facundo Pellistri. It seems like he's definitely going to go this window, doesn't it? And if he does, I'd imagine you wish him all the best, right?
Oh, of course. I think wherever he'll go, I think he still has a bright future in him. Maybe move to the Serie A can actually help him out quite a bit because the way he plays and the kind of winger he actually is, maybe it works out much better in Serie A. He's much more of a traditional winger. He's not your goal scoring winger who likes to cut in and shoot. He's more of a player who likes to beat his defender and then look for a cross and go in. So might actually help him elevate his game when it comes to his physicality as well. So it could be a good move for him, and I think there's still a player in him, and hopefully he can actually hit his true level when he moves to Bologna or Cagliari or whichever club actually comes in for him.
Yeah. I wish him all the best. I always do. It's not like he's caused a fuss or anything at all, innit? It's just kind of biding his time. And you look at how saturated that winger department is in a minute. You're not getting a minute.
You need players to go out. You need players to go out for players to come in. That's it. It's simple.
Yeah. You've got £150 million worth of wingers sat on the bench.
Yeah.
So if you think you're going to get a minute, it's probably the reason why Forson left as well. And I wish him all the best equally. It's going to be a struggle. At least we actually have depth in that area. You know what I mean? That's the good thing. Like, if someone got injured, if Rashford got injured now, it's like, Garnacho just plays. What I mean? We're fine in that sense.
Sancho can slot in as well. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. You know what? Every time, we always get comments, and I love this stuff. Craig the Unicorns, underrated channel. Thank you for the recommendation. I think that's from Mac and another legend there as well. We always get those kind of comments. How has this not got more views? How has this not got more subscribers? Underrated, da da da. And all that kind of stuff. It's always nice to see. It makes us feel confident that we're doing our jobs correctly. Right, back to the comments again. Last 5 minutes, guys. We'll go to the 40-minute mark today, and we'll get some, any questions, Q&A, etc. you want to get in. Any topics we haven't covered that you would like us to discuss, jump in, and then Shreyas is going to go dive in the ocean for a bit after that. So, Palistria's interest from Bologna and Cal, just touched on that, so hopefully we've covered it for you. Takes most foreign players a season just to adapt to the Premier League. He's out until the international break, so he'll be ready for England. Unreal. Listen, if Luke Shaw plays for England, I'm done with that guy completely. If he goes and plays friendlies with England, you can consider him just wrote off in my book. If Shaw retired from international football, he's basically retired. Can't make this up. What's up? How are you, my guy? I don't know if Elite Baller is speaking to us, but how are you? I hope you're well, Elite Baller. Welcome to the chat. Sorry, I'm just trying to cipher through these thingies. Rajat saying McTominay's Nottingham level. Knick-knack, is it defence that's the problem or a lack of legs in midfield to protect the defence? What's your thoughts on that, Shreyas?
I think a bit of both, to be very honest with you. I think you need, I think the lack of legs definitely causes a problem because you need energy in that midfield to be able to cover as much ground, to be able to fill in spaces when you're getting hit on the counter. And when it comes to protection, you need someone who is able to impose himself physically alongside Meno. Meno is quite decent, but he's still developing. He's still very, very young. It will take him some time to be able to, dominate his opponents physically. He is able to hold players off when he's on the ball, but you still need that partner with him to be able to complement him in that midfield. So in that aspect, I think players like Fofana, players like Ugarte, who, actually like to get stuck in a lot, they might actually be able to help him out a lot more, a lot better.
Yeah. I think Casemiro has been a massive issue in that midfield. We've spoken about it so many times. But I also think centre-backs needed. When you have Johnny Evans and Maguire, and it's definitely a combination of both, I think.
Yeah.
Johnny Evans and Maguire just got no legs whatsoever, and it's systematically, when you want to play a high line, you want to be proactive and direct, you need defenders who are capable and quick, 1v1, your Van der Vens, your Van Dijks, your Salibas, and they are so far removed from that. A 36-year-old Johnny Evans and a Maguire who didn't have agility when he was 18, so if you think he's going to have agility when he's 31... not going to happen. He's a donkey in that sense. And I know it sounds disrespectful, but I just mean he's very stiff. He's got no agility. He's basically a fridge at centre-back. So you need individual profiles to help you out. And players like Yoro are perfect examples who can do that. And I think De Ligt will help with that as well in terms of, progression, stepping up, touching tight. I think De Ligt will help that out. So hopefully that answers your question. Of course I am, mate. I think you're speaking to us. Jay saying alternative to... sorry, I keep seeing comments and then the chat just scrolls down rapid, so I miss him. So a few days ago, you asked about a possible alternative. What about Danilo from Fulham? He's 22, South American. Never seen him. I will call a spade and never seen. I don't know if you have, Shreyas. You neither?
Yeah, I've heard of him a couple of times, not been able to actually see into his game a lot more. I've been able to track Sangare for them a lot in that CDM position, but Danilo I haven't really been able to focus as much.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, no idea. Big up, lads. When are we announcing our 2 new Warriors? Probably tomorrow now. They usually do it around 4 o'clock. They did that with Yoro and they did it with Xerxes. So I'd say tomorrow, 4 o'clock. But their numbers, by the way, very quickly, I don't think I mentioned it before. De Ligt's going to wear the number 4 shirt, and Majari's going to wear the number 3 shirt for anyone who's interested in that. You just reminded me there. Palmer just signed a new deal at Chelsea till 2033. There goes the idea of him joining United. My heart aches now. I would have loved for Cole Palmer to... I mean, I've said it so many times. What a player Shreyas.
Yeah. And the breakout season he's had, and whenever he even played in the Euros for England as well, whenever he came on, absolutely electric on that right hand side. And I think the future is definitely bright for him. I don't think that he made the best choice actually agreeing to this renewal because having this 9-year contract at Chelsea where the project is never really stable because you don't even know who the manager is going to be 6 months down the line, who the players are going to be 6 months down the line. They've got like 48 players in already, and they're
Yeah.
working on a deal to get João Felix in. So it just doesn't fit right. And with the player of his capability, his age profile, I think he can, when you look at Cole Palmer, he can probably start for any team right now with the form that he's been in and the season he's just started. He can start for any team right
And
now.
the confidence he has as well, it just doesn't. He's not phased at all by anything. I think he's a top player, like highly rated.
Yeah.
Any news on when we get the go ahead with the paperwork's been done with Delita Masraoui? Hopefully, I answered that for you before. I'd expect it tomorrow announced. Evans and Maguire walking statues. Trying to decipher between conversations ongoing. At least Evans isn't on £100,000 a week. Isn't signing a new contract with Chelsea basically renewing your wedding vows? Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Last few. Palmer would find space in a single bed with Gemma Collins. I don't know if anyone would get that. I get it, and that's funny. Well done, Jay. Always a crack, except for Southgate. My God, are we talking Southgate? Yeah. So we've come to the end of the show, guys. It's been an absolute whirlwind because we had stuff planned to talk about, and then right halfway through, got wedged in the fact that Luke Shaw is yet again injured. Look, I'm sure we'll get more developments on this, but he's out until after an international break. So here we are. Sat here twiddling our thumbs again, saying who the fuck's going to start at left back. So, yeah, just before you head off, Shreyas, of course, I'm not sure what the schedule is for this week in terms of if you're going to be on the preview or not, so I'd rather ask you now. Thoughts on the game, Fulham? Are you excited for it?
Scared right now. Right now, I'm scared because I don't know what the 11 might look like. I know how United are going to play. I know how Fulham will like to actually counter us as well.
Yeah.
So I think it might be a bit. I don't expect it to be a game where United are playing with all the flair and it's going to be a very beautiful watch. I think it will be very scrappy. I think it will be a very tough game to watch at times because you've got two new players coming into that defense who've never even played in the Premier League in Mazraoui and Delict. So it will take some time for them to actually catch up to speed. You probably will still have Casemiro starting in that midfield alongside Menu and Bruno Ugarte. Even if it gets completed, I doubt it will happen before Fulham that he'll be able to start. So I think there will be some, you never know. Maybe Collier starts in midfield alongside Menu. Ten Hag might make that call as well. So I think it depends on the 11. I still think that United will be able to come through with a win, but I I think whichever squad we pick, it will be a tough game to watch. I don't expect it to be all flowery, how people might be imagining it right now.
Yeah, I suppose the one thing you could take from it is the positivity that how we've been playing. I thought in the game against City, in particular in the second half, I thought we played actually really well, and I thought we played with players like Mount, Bruno, Ahmad, who can all receive the ball really well, in tight spaces, and they can all break the lines. I think that looked interesting. So whether he goes with the same setup again, I mean, it's rumored Garnacho's going to start. That's coming out from a lot of people. Yeah. So I don't know what lineup.
One thing for sure is, I think one thing for sure is, when it comes to pressing, I think Mount and Bruno work quite well off the ball.
Workhorses.
The way they are able to, I think they work quite well off the ball. So you never know. Maybe Ten Hag wants to fit both of them in for that Fulham game.
Yeah. Well, all will be revealed on the preview for our first Premier League game tomorrow. We'll get a couple of lads in on that one. Obviously, we'll be live Friday night for the watch-along as well, so make sure you come and join me. Watch-alongs are back. We didn't do them last season, but we're bringing them back this season. So hopefully we have as many people as there are right now in the chat, and if there is, then we'll continue to do the watch-along. So it'll be good to see a good chunk of you in on there, watching the game with myself and discussing it. But yeah, very busy week for United. Make sure you guys turn on the notification bell. Please leave a like on the video for us. I think Steph mentioned before, there's 31 likes on the video, but there's 50-odd people. So if you haven't liked it yet, please do. That would be amazing. Big up every single person, and I mean this genuinely, in the chat, whose comments, gets involved, says hello to each other, conversates. It's really, really nice seeing a community developing, and you're all a bunch of legends. So enjoy the rest of your day. I'm sure Shreyas will, and the Greek islands, or wherever he's at, in the next couple of days. And hopefully we'll see you shortly. Shreyas.
Oh yeah, definitely. For sure. I'll be back on show.
Yeah, man. Right, you go get yourself in the ocean, and if any news breaks, I'll go live, yeah?
Sure thing.
See you in a bit, guys. Legend.